All right, Alec live here at CPAC with Superman himself, Dean Cain.
That's Alec right there.
Well, for a lot of the people that don't know, my success in this industry has been because of you. You came on, gave a little lone guy a shot, and from there I've been able to speak to so many different people about so many important topics. So what's been your topic here to the people? What are you saying to the people at CPAC? What's your message?
I had a couple of different panels today, and one of them was about Hollywood and getting canceled and wokeness. And I was on there with Bill Abbott, who's the head of Great American Media, used to be the head of Hallmark. I used to work for Hallmark all the time, and then when he got, quote, fired, suddenly I didn't work for Hallmark anymore. So, but we talked about that, and then I was, as a deputy sheriff, which I am as well, I spoke this morning a little bit about law enforcement and about, just sort of the general cultural shift that's happened since President Trump has come into office. Honest to goodness, Alec, I feel like every single day it's my birthday, and I wake up to see what gifts I've been given on the X machine there. It's amazing the pace that things are going on, and I couldn't be happier. And by the way, I was honored to speak with you back in the day as a I don't know, a fledgling, because your concept, first class fatherhood. There's nothing in my life that is more important than being a father.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see come back to the big screen, too. So I wanted to get your take. They put the ambassadors to Hollywood, Mel Gibson, John Voight, and Sylvester Stallone. I forget Stallone. I said, why not Dean Cain? But I guess you moved out of California, so you bailed on Hollywood. But what is your take on the ambassadors to Hollywood? You think it's going to make a difference?
I don't know if that was. I don't know. It could. Maybe it was a symbolic move by President Trump, or maybe he's going to give him something to do. I mean, if he was allocating funds, that gives them a lot more power. But if it's sort of an honorary title, I think it just shows that, we've got a hand, this side has a hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, or on the stage, and I think that's important. And I think, as Andrew Breitbart said back in the day, and Andrew was a friend of mine, he's the first guy who ever told me I had to run for office. And he was convinced. He's like, it is my. I think I have his book where he's like, it is my goal to make you run for office. One of his books that he signed. Politics are downstream from culture. So when you're doing things, you're making product and projects and movies that glorify God or glorify fatherhood or glorify Judeo-Christian values. You're helping to change the culture. And I'm watching my 24-year-old and his generation come back around, and it's really nice to see them questioning things and being interested in the news and find out what's going on, not just being lemmings. I feel like maybe that generation just ahead of them might have been.
And it would be great to see the father take the prominent role in Hollywood films again. This is what the people are begging for it. Right. I mean, people are begging for the father character, the strong man. He knocks out the bad guy, saves the girl. You know what I mean? Like that's the movies we want to see. We're craving for.
That's the movies I like to watch. I expect to see that. I mean, I don't mind having a feminine hero now and again, things like that. But men are built a certain way. We are the hunter-gatherers, and we are the protector of the family, and that's just what it's always been. It's the way it was always in my household. It's the way I grew up. It's the way it's in my household now, and most households are that way. And I like to see a strong male character. That was one of the things that bothered me about one of the Superman movies, was that Superman wasn't raising his own kid. And Brandon Routh did a great job with it, but I was like, man, as a father, you can't. I turned down everything, and I've discussed this with you before, but I turned everything down to remain a father. Band of Brothers would have been a great thing I really wanted to do. Couldn't do it. A couple different series, couldn't do them because I wouldn't be there, wouldn't be present as a father, and they would have taken my custody away because I was in a custody battle. So I wouldn't trade anything for what I've done. I would have liked to have done Band of Brothers. That was darn good.
Yeah, I would have loved to see you in it. But we also, too, you see, we have Supermans that say they take out the truth, justice, and the American way. We have a Captain America that says, hey, he's really not all about America. And you're like, what are we doing here? These are iconic figures that are great for the country, and they're taking them away.
Listen, on my X bio, it says truth, justice, and the American way. Why Warner Brothers let that lapse, I'll never know. Your kid's wearing a purple suit.
Yeah.
And a Raiders hat.
Yeah, I know.
So he's not afraid of anything. I truth, justice, the American way. I stand for it. It's on my Twitter bio, my X bio, because I believe in it. People are like, well, what is the American way? The American way is belief in the individual and protecting individual rights, the ability to compete fairly without government and other people just putting a million regulations on you and tilting the scale, like EV mandates and things of that nature, the ability to be successful Yay, be successful and then create wealth that you can pass on to your family. That's what everybody wants. That's why everybody's coming here. That is the American way.
There is part of that, too, that has to happen in the education system, and that's why he's saying we're going to dismantle the Department of Education. He's got Linda McMahon on there now, who's pretty badass.
And her job is to get rid of her job.
Yeah, exactly. But it has been. I mean, we've seen it. You raise your son in this country. You see what's going on with this education system. And the Democrats sit there and argue from the standpoint as if this has been successful, and they're putting out all these brain scientists. But when you're out there looking at the younger generations coming out, it's like, what are these kids learning? And we got the chance to see that during COVID, and that's why a lot of parents stood up.
Well, it's pretty simple. Look at when the Department of Education came into being. Look how much money they spent, and look at the drop in our test scores. So I don't think, it was never supposed to be a federal agency. It was always supposed to be reserved for the states. I believe in federalism. I believe in states' rights. I think it's a good thing. I'd like them to bring back, the Presidential Fitness Awards. I remember those. I'd like to see that stuff get back in, and I'd like to see them encourage healthy habits and good habits. And the government can do that. You can use that carrot in a sense to do so. But I don't think the Department of Education. I mean, even under Trump's first administration, it should have been gone. And I think it'll be a huge savings. And it'll, I like that California is a little different than New York or whoever, and I think it should be that way. Let the states run it.
Because anything else that's set up like that, if it continued to fail for 30 years, they'd be out of business. But we just keep dumping money into it and expect a different result.
Or if you're $36 trillion in debt, you can just keep going. No problem. I would like to have that credit card because my household doesn't run that way.
Yeah. All right. The other thing here, Pete Hegseth now is in charge in the military. It's another one of these things. You were speaking there with Tim Kennedy. These guys are pumped up about having a guy at the helm that cares about the people on the street doing the fighting, the guys on the battleground. So what do you think is going to what do you think of Pete Hegseth becoming the Secretary of Defense?
I think Secretary Hegseth is a superstar. I think he bleeds. If you were to cut him open, he would bleed red, white, and blue. He is the biggest patriot I know, and I know him very, very well. Love the guy to death. Can't be. Before, my son was talking about possibly going to the military, and I was like, no, not under this administration. If Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense, I would say go ahead. I would feel, because I know the way he feels about our warfighters. I know how he feels about every single soldier and their families as well. So I am super pumped up that he's in there. I think he's already doing a great job. It's only been 32 days. Yeah. My gosh, it's incredible. And, we need to be a lethal fighting force. So hope, I love, back to Reagan times, strength, peace through strength. And I think Pete believes in that 100%. And if it's time to show strength, he knows how to do that. We'll be overwhelming force, and it'll get done, and our men and women will return, and we won't leave anybody behind. And people should fear the United States military. But we need to be not doing this sort of things that we've been doing with USAID and all these other crazy things. Let's be on the up and up, and I think it's about as good as it gets. I'm so happy with Secretary Hegseth, and I'd love to be able to say that, Mr. Secretary. Well done, Mr. Secretary. No, it's just awesome.
It has been. And the other thing, last thing, because I don't want to keep you too long here, Dean, but we have this all-star team now. You talk about health. We have Maha with RFK Jr. We got Tulsi Gabbard's on board now. We got Elon Musk. I mean, we have all these people.
Elon yesterday here with the chainsaw. Iconic.
Yeah. So we have all these people now. So CPAC now takes on a different tone. We have guys like that were lifelong Democrats, prominent Democrats too, and now they're in the MAGA party here. They're on Trump's administration. So what do you think that little potpourri is going to do for the future?
Well, it changed everything. I mean, you have President Trump himself, a former Democrat. I mean, that's just what it is. The far left has just moved everything left or further left, and people who were moderate Democrats are now far right Republicans, and they're not. Their positions haven't changed. And I go back to, I don't know who said it. They said I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. That makes sense. And I think it left Tulsi. I think it left Elon. I think it left President Trump. And they said, this doesn't make sense. This is a party of common sense. The things that they're doing. I mean, I'm still marveling every day at the fact that Democrats are fighting DOGE. Who doesn't want to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse? Who doesn't want to do that? It's a really tough position to defend, and I don't think the American people are behind it at all. The chainsaw was hysterical, and we need to take a chainsaw to that budget. Anybody who's fighting against it probably has their hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah, and it's the taxpayers like us that are the ones that are getting screwed. The Democrats no, we don't want you to find out why. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
what is this? Why is everything classified? Why that was not a very transparent administration. This administration is incredibly transparent. I love what they're doing. Every day is my birthday. I wake up, check the news, and see what's going on.
Well, Dean Cain, you're a first-class father all the way. Glad I finally got a chance to meet you in person. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time on the Alec Show.
Anytime, brother.